First up, Doc, we're going to talk about Marvel's Secret Empire, a 5-year look back. It's shocking that it's been 5 years since this stink bomb just utterly destroyed the character of Captain America.
Yeah, well, time flies when everything sucks. It was a bad story then, and it's apparently still a bad story now.
Absolutely. No one really likes Secret Empire. And when you look at this, it really spits in the face of everything Dan Slott was trying to say a few weeks ago, where you can't destroy characters that are 80 years old. If you look at Captain America sales pre-Secret Empire, like the baseline, the bottom you could actually get to was about 40,000 sales a month. After Secret Empire, Nick Spencer leaves, and then we have Ta-Nehisi Coates take over. But it goes down to like 25, and basically the baseline sales before sales data basically goes poof. So this has been a net negative for the character of Captain America, just a terrible, terrible event. But CBR needed to do a retrospective without adding anything, but we'll add something because we're good at stuff like this, Doc. This is how they start. Secret Empire has a terrible legacy. The events build up kicked off in earnest with Steve Rogers' Captain America, a book that launched in May of 2016. This comic dropped a bombshell on readers. Captain America was an agent of Hydra, eschewing freedom and democracy for fascism. The book revealed how this all occurred, including how Steve Rogers took control of S.H.I.E.L.D. and enacted a plan that allowed him to take over the United States. Secret Empire by writer Nick Spencer hasn't aged well, but that's really not surprising. However, recent events and Fall of X's Uncanny Avengers have brought parts of the story back to the fore, which begs the question, is it time to reevaluate Secret Empire? What I don't get about this is I'm reading Nightwing from Tom Taylor right now, and we're revisiting the Rick Grayson Nightwing era, which is only a few years ago, but it's absolutely terrible. It's the worst Nightwing story ever told. It's the worst Dick Grayson story ever told. Now we're talking about Secret Empire, the story that destroyed Captain America and its ability to actually sell in the American comic book market. Why are we revisiting that in Uncanny Avengers? It's done to do nothing but remind people why they hate Marvel Comics.
So I can't decide if it's them just being incompetent or a bunch of creators just deciding, fuck you guys, fuck you readers. That was a good story. I don't care that you rejected it, and I'm going to keep doing it until you accept it.
But the problem is, Doc, it's really not a good story on so many levels, and we'll kind of get to that. But Secret Empire, on its face, was destroyed and unsalvageable the moment that Captain America said, "Hail Hydra," and was revealed to be a Hydra agent all along. Everything about the Marvel Universe and Captain America falls in on itself when you go for this type of stupid swerve.
You knew from the minute that the first page and that they were starting to build something that it was just going to get retconned. There's no way that it was ever going to remain the status quo. And everything after that was just spinning in circles until it got back to basically the point of one page before that. There was no way that the Hail Hydra thing, the Hail Hydra cap, was going to become the new status quo permanently moving forward. When you do stories like that, you're already basically broadcasting, yeah, this isn't going to end up mattering in the end because it's going to retcon itself.
Well, they never really did retcon it. It's obviously the Cosmic Cube comes into play, and they replace Hydra Cap with a fake version of Cap that's actually who people remember Cap being. But it's really still in place, though, Doc.
Yes, but it just gets ignored.
No one acknowledges that he's not really Captain America anymore.
Yeah, nobody acknowledges that he's...
In fact, they resurrected him. How do they resurrect something that wasn't real to begin with?
I don't know how you resurrect the figment of somebody's imagination, because that's all he is. Marvel writers and editors room has historically just decided to kind of ignore stuff that they don't want to have to deal with, but then allowing them to come back and shine a spotlight on something that didn't work, was soundly rejected. They're shining a spotlight on their own incompetence here.
Absolutely. He continues, many fans were immediately turned off by the creation of two Jewish creators becoming Nazi adjacent. However, looking back, it's easy to see why Marvel felt like exploring that route. Fascism in the United States was a hot button topic in 2016 and 2017. So it seems like Marvel was making a statement in that direction, using Captain America to make a political statement. In fact, that was his original impetus behind the character. However, many felt that making Cap a Hydra agent wasn't a good choice, despite whatever the book was trying to say about then current affairs in the United States. This is still one of the main complaints about the comic book, because it doesn't hold up, and it was absolutely stupid to actually retcon a character like Captain America to make him Nazi adjacent so we can own the chuds and say something about the current state of affairs in the real world when you're actually destroying the Marvel Comics universe in the process.
It was emblematic of Marvel's, Trump derangement syndrome that was going on around 2016, 2017. Again, it's not about doing something creative. It's about taking something away from your weird political enemies. And that's all it was. We'll turn Cap into a symbol of fascism because people that are patriotic are definitely fascist.
Yeah, the same way where if you wear the Punisher logo, it means you must want to murder people and beat the piss out of them like Frank Castle. Ignoring the fact that the logo is pretty cool. Ignoring the fact that the United States flag is beloved worldwide and actually looks pretty damn cool, especially when you put them on Captain America.
And especially ignoring the fact that they don't understand the definition of fascism because they're a bunch of ignorant tools. But hey, why get caught up in the minutia of what the word actually means?
And the writers they brought in afterwards, because they got to continue making the statement, like your Ta-Nehisi Coates eventually ending up with Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly, who all clearly hate America, and they're trying to make a statement about America using the character of Captain America, ends up destroying the value of the IP itself, especially in comic books.
Look, they've basically set that IP on fire, and they started doing it with Nick Spencer's run and Secret Empire. That's pretty clear to everyone that they'd rather burn that character down than allow a patriotic character to actually be patriotic about his country.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles nowadays, Doc. But that's not the only thing that was bad about Secret Empire. The original sin, making Captain America Hydra Cap, it was doomed from that moment on, but the execution itself was actually really bad as well. Secret Empire's build was more akin to events like Fear itself or Age of Ultron, which had very little to no build-up. The fact that people didn't like the build-up or ideological reasons didn't help any either. Making Cap Hydra Supreme is a milestone, but it poisoned the well to the extent that many people had already turned against Secret Empire before it even started. It honestly might have been better for Secret Empire if Marvel had saved the Hydra Cap reveal until right before the event. This way, readers would have watched Cap manipulating events in Steve Rogers' Captain America and wondered why he was doing this.
Yeah, I mean, look, they describe turning Cap into Hydra Supreme as a milestone. I think that they spelled millstone wrong because that's what it was. It's a millstone around the neck of the character that is dragging him under water and essentially drowning him since day one. Look, there was a lot of really terrible events around that were preceding this. They brought up Age of Ultron. That was such an obviously ham-fisted thing that seemed to be in its own little world that never really connected to the main Marvel universe. They brought out a couple other ones, and all of them were just kind of shoved in there. It was very obvious from the first issue of Steve Rogers' Captain America that they wanted to build that into an event. The creativity on it was poor. The premise behind it was weak. And then the incredibly slow storytelling until you actually got to Secret Empire. It was fucking torturous to go through because it was just poorly written and boring.
And another example of Marvel Comics not really learning from their mistakes. Yes, they haven't done anything quite as audaciously bad as making a Hydra Cap, but they haven't been leading up to events. They haven't been executing well. A lot of what Marvel is doing today feels way more like Civil War II than it does the first Civil War or the first Secret War or anything like that. They just do events to do events, and then they're shocked that people don't buy into them. And they should have learned from Age of Ultron, Civil War II, from Secret Empire. You might want to actually build this stuff up. You might want to tell it competently, and maybe then people can buy in, but we don't ever really get that anymore.
No, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that they need to do so many events in a year that they have no time to build up to it. Their idea of a build up now is like 3 issues that happens to mention something in a C plot, and then all of a sudden it's this giant line-wide event. The idea of building to something is impossible because that would require 2, 3, 4 years of build. They can't even give ongoing series, don't even last 12 issues now.
Yeah, so they finished up on this one. Reevaluating Secret Empire reveals a story whose problems go beyond just Captain America becoming what amounts to a Nazi. Secret Empire's problems go beneath the surface. To the way the book was produced, it likely would have experienced more success had someone pruned it or forced some kind of focus on it. Someone should have said, hey, maybe have this artist do this plot and that artist do that one. Someone should have had Spencer hold off on the cap reveal until just before the story started, so readers would invest before a controversial plot line that turns them off. And, hey, when CBR can't find the silver lining in your event, you failed spectacularly. They've actually gone out there and done a discussion about I Am Not Starfire, and they've talked about the good points of it. They actually couldn't point to one good thing that happened in Secret Empire in this fucking article, and that probably tells Marvel and Nick Spencer everything they need to know about just how badly they failed here.
Yeah, I mean, look, they make some good points about ways to improve it, but I fail to see how any of them would have actually made it into a good event. Yes, actual competence on who you have drawing what storylines when you have that many artists. Yes, that would make sense. Having some sort of logistical plan for like a singular artistic look for different plot lines. Yeah, absolutely. Would have improved it. Would it have made it good? No. Would have avoiding the Hydra cap reveal until just before the end. Maybe would it have just slowed the rejection of it? Possibly. Could it have gotten people more invested before they rejected it? Yeah, but that would have just helped the sales on it. At the end of the day, it still wouldn't have made it a good story. The underlying premise of the whole thing is flawed. There are certain things that are bad stories, and fundamentally breaking the foundation of a character like Captain America is a bad fucking idea.
It's tantamount to DC Comics going back and creating an event where we retcon the origin of Bruce Wayne to where he killed his parents. And
Absolutely.
he's been lying the entire time.
Yeah, where it turns out he's the one that shot his parents, and he's been blaming somebody else the entire time. He just
wanted attention.
Yeah.
He didn't want justice.
Yes. And if you tell me that will not fundamentally and permanently break that character, I say that you're fucking full of shit. Because you didn't create Batman at that point. You just created the Nemesis character from Miller World.
It was a fantastic character and works on its own. Doesn't work as Batman.
Absolutely not.
If you would like further proof that this did long-term damage to the Captain America brand, especially in comic books, look no further than the Colin Kelly Jackson Lanzig run, which was just canceled after 13 issues. Captain fucking America couldn't last 13 issues on an ongoing series. That's how bad it got. Secret Empire did all of that. There's also a link in the video description.